维果斯基的社会文化理论。
Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about another very important theory in language learning, Vygotsky's social cultural theory. This theory is very helpful for parents to understand one thing. Children do not learn English only by memorizing words or studying grammar rules. They learn language through interaction, communication, and meaningful social experiences. In other words, language grows in relationships. It grows when children talk with teachers. It grows when they play with classmates. It grows when they ask questions, answer questions, solve problems, tell stories, and express their real ideas. So today I want to explain this theory in a very simple way. Vygotsky was a psychologist from Russia. One of his most important ideas is that children's learning does not happen only inside of a children's brain. Learning first happens between people, and then it becomes a part of a children's own thinking. For example, when a young child is learning to speak, the child first hears the adults say things like, "Do you want some water? Can you put on your shoes? Look, this is a dog. What color is it?" At first, the child is only listening and responding, but slowly, the child begins to use the same language by himself or herself. So language starts from social interaction, and then it becomes the children's own language ability. This is very important for second language learning, especially for children learning English. A child does not become good at English just by sitting alone and memorizing vocabulary lists. A child becomes good at English by using English with other people. This is why I always tell parents a good English class should not be a class where the teacher talks all the time and the child only listens. A good English class should create many chances for the child to participate. The child should listen, but the child should also answer. The child should repeat. The child should describe. The child should ask questions. The child should act out stories. The child should work with classmates. The child should use English to complete a small task. Because language is not only knowledge, language is a tool for communication. If we only treat English as knowledge, children may know many words, but they may not know how to use them. But if we treat English as a communication tool, children will slowly build real language ability. Another important concept from Vygotsky is called the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. This sounds very academic, but actually it is very simple. The zone of proximal development means there are things a child can already do alone. There are things a child cannot do yet, and there are things a child can do with the help of a teacher, parent, or more capable peer. The most effective learning happens in the middle area. Let me give you an example. If a child can already say, "I like apples," this is what the child can do independently. If you ask the child to immediately give a long speech about environmental protection in English, this is too difficult. The child cannot do it even with the help. But if the teacher helps the child expand from "I like apples" to "I like apples because they are sweet," and then to "My favorite fruit is apples because they are sweet and healthy," this is exactly the child's zone of proximal development. The child cannot produce the longer sentence alone at first, but with the teacher's support, the child can do it. And after practicing many times, the child can finally use it independently. This is real learning. So, according to Vygotsky, the teacher's job is not just to give answers. The teacher's job is to providing scaffolding. Scaffolding means support. Just like when people build a building, they use scaffolding to support the structure. When the building becomes stronger, scaffolding can slowly be removed. In language learning, teachers also provide scaffolding. For example, when a child cannot answer a question, the teacher may give choices. Is it big or small? Is he happy or sad? Do you mean he is running or jumping? Or the teacher may start the sentence, I think he is, and let the child finish. I think he is happy. Or the teacher may model a better sentence. Child says, he goes school. Teacher says, yes, he goes to school. The teacher does not need to criticize the child harshly. The teacher gives the correct model naturally so the child can hear it, understand it, and slowly use it. This is scaffolding. Good scaffolding does not make the child feel stupid. Good scaffolding makes the child feel, oh, I can do it with a little help. And gradually, the child needs less and less help. This theory also helps us to understand why interaction is so important in English classes. Some parents may think, as long as my child listens to enough English, this is enough. Input is very important. We also talked about Prussian's input hypothesis before, but from Vygotsky's perspective, input alone is not enough. Children also need social interaction. They need someone to respond to them. They need someone to adjust the language for them. They need someone to guide them when they get stuck. For example, if a teacher asks, what did you do yesterday? The child says, park. A weak teacher may simply say, okay, but a good teacher will have the child expand. Oh, you went to the park yesterday. Who did you go with? The child says, Mom. And then the teacher continues, oh, you went to the park with your mom. What did you do there? The child says, the teacher says, you played there. Great. You can say, I went to the park with my mom and I played there. This is not just a correction. This is a language change. The English becomes longer, clearer, and more natural. This is also why I do not believe young children should learn English mainly through translation and grammar explanation. For example, if we teach a child 第三人称单数后面动词要加 s, the child may understand the rule intellectually, but in real communication, the child may still say, he likes apples. Why? Because language use is not only about knowing a rule, it is about repeated exposure, meaningful use, and guided interaction. If the child hears and uses the sentences like, he likes the apples, she likes the bananas, my brother likes the soccer, my teacher likes the coffee, again and again in real context, the structure will slowly become natural. This is very different from only memorizing grammar rules. For children, especially young children, language should first be experienced, used, and internalized. Rules can come. Vygotsky's theory also reminds us that classmates matter. Sometimes parents think only the teacher matters. Of course, the teacher is very important, but peer interaction is also powerful. When children learn together, they listen to each other, they copy each other, they help each other, they compete a little, they laugh together, they act together. These social moments create strong emotional memories, and the language connected with the emotion and the real communication is easier to remember. For example, if children act out a story together, one child plays the mother, one child plays the father, and one child plays the dog. They are not just reading English, they are living the story. They use their voice, body, facial expressions, and imagination. This kind of learning is much deeper than simply reading a sentence 10 times. So, what does this mean to parents? First, do not judge an English class only by how many words the teacher explains. A class where the teacher explains a lot is not always a better class. Sometimes the best class is a class where children are highly engaged, where they speak, respond, act, think, and interact. Second, do not worry if your child cannot speak perfectly at the beginning. Language develops through supported practice. At first, the children may give one-word answer. Then they may give short phrases. Then they simple sentences and longer sentences. Then they can tell stories and express opinions. This is a process. Third, parents can also provide simple interaction at home. You do not need to speak perfect English. You can also ask simple questions like, what is this? What color is it? Do you like it? Can you tell me more? What happened in the story? Even if your English is not perfect, your attention and interaction are still valuable. The most important thing is not perfect pronunciation or perfect grammar. The most important thing is to create a meaningful communication environment. So, to summarize today's video, Vygotsky's social culture theory tells us that children learn through social interaction. Language does not grow only from textbooks. It grows from communication. The teacher's role is not only to teach knowledge, but to provide scaffolding. The best learning happens in the children's zone of proximal development. Not too easy, not too hard, but just challenging enough with support. And for children learning English, interaction is not a decoration of the class. Interaction is the class. When children speak, respond, ask, act, cooperate, and solve problems in English, they are not wasting time. They are building real language ability. This is why we believe English learning should be alive, meaningful, and interactive. Children do not learn English best by being silent receivers. They learn English best when they are active participants. Thank you for watching. In the next video, I will continue to share more important series about second language acquisition and how they can help us make better decisions for our children's English learning. Thank you. Bye-bye.